Hello everybody on YouTube, it's Xaldin here, the Magician Master 100, known as the Master of all Spellcasters. Well, today I'm going to be reviewing you another Christmas special. Oh, and of course, also to say, sorry for having been uploading any videos. I had a lot to do, and yeah, I was a bit busy lately, so I'm gonna take the opportunity and do a video for you guys. Anyway, today's Christmas special is from my favorite cartoon, Ed and Eddy. Ah, yes, Ed and Eddy. When I look back now, I remember all the great things they had, from three kids doing shenanigans, and then scams just to make sure they can get their local kids from the cul-de-sac to get their money, so they can buy jawbreakers the size of frickin' tires, and of course actually put them in their mouth. Pause. Yeah, I paused right there. So yeah. Anyway, it actually can, I mean, seriously, have you seen the size of those things? Pause. Anyway, this is one of my personal favorite Christmas specials. This is Edd'n and Eddy Jingle Jingle Jangle. We start our story off with Eddy, one of the main characters, of course, looking through the house and trying to find his parents' Christmas stash. Yeah, it's one of those common things where kids look around in the house when their parents are not home. Either they look in the closet or the attic or the parents underneath their bed, or anywhere the parents hide the gifts for Christmas or their birthday. And then after that, they try to slightly, see what they got for Christmas or their birthday or their bar mitzvah or whatever, certain special holiday they have. They celebrate and try to see what they get, and hope that they got what they wanted. But of course, so far Eddy searches not working out. He looks underneath the tree, he looks in the closet, but of course looks in the attic and tries to look around until he found a little creak on the floor and found his parents' Christmas stash. He opens one of the gifts slightly, and of course finds out that he got a sweater for Christmas. And of course opens another gift, and of course it's something that he didn't like. It turns out that he was going to get clothes for Christmas, and he gets all raged and mad, and of course a flashlight points at a mirror, and of course goes through like a couple of mirrors, basically like those moments where a light points at another light and then goes to another mirror and then another. You probably get what I mean. Anyway, we cut to our next scene with the Canker sisters, the three girls who have an obsession for the Edds. Yeah, with kissing them and all that, and basically the obsessed girls that you mostly see in animes, I guess. Anyway, they noticed a twinkle in they're celebrating Christmas themselves by opening up one of those forgot what they were called, but anyway, you pop them, and of course they blow up, and of course you end up with a paper crown, basically. And of course they decide to check out what that twinkling in the light is, so they go out and try to see what it is. So we got to our next scene with Ed, one of my other favorite characters of the show, taking his chimney and putting it in his bedroom, and setting it up and getting ready for Santa Claus to come. And of course, Sarah being Sarah, saying, "Make sure Santa gets my stocking or I'll stuff you in the turkey." Okay. Anyway, here's a knock, and of course he assumed that it was Santa. But of course, it's his best friend, Ed. To me, Double D, one of my other favorite characters of the show, wishing him a Merry Christmas. And of course, Double D explains that the true meaning of Christmas comes from in here. And of course, Ed says, "My udder." It's probably just a short little gag. I mean, it's Ed. I mean, come on. He's not really that bright anyway. I mean, not to sound like I'm trying to make fun of your favorite characters who happen to love Ed and Eddy as much as I do and watch it as much as I have, but you have to admit, he's not really that bright. So, anyway, Eddy comes over to Ed's house for some odd reason. I don't know either. And of course, starts complaining and whining that he didn't get what he wanted for Christmas. And of course, WD lectures him and saying that Christmas is not what matter. Excuse me. Doesn't matter what you get underneath the tree. It matters what's in here. And of course, Eddy says, "That's my out of here touching." And of course, Eddy starts ranting on of how much he didn't get what he wanted for Christmas. The clothes and all that, and the socks. And of course, Ed spots a little light bulb that on his chair, and decides to put it in Eddy's pocket. And of course, Double D is that you should adopt a better attitude. And of course, Eddy gets an idea of putting himself up for adoption so he can be able to see if he can get better presents in someone else's house. So he runs off and tries to see who said he should try to steal their Christmas first. And of course, he drops by Johnny's house. The kid, it always talks to a piece of wood with a face on it, named Plank. I mean, who talks to an inanimate object? What's that, High Priestess? Oh, yeah. Don't worry. We may have lost our spellbook of fate, thanks to the January 1st ban list. But don't worry. We'll still try to take over the world, even though we lost our spellbook of fate. You didn't see anything. Anyway, turns out Johnny was celebrating his own kind of tradition in his family by bringing the snow inside his house, and of course dressing up like Jack Frost and Plank as Mr. Snowflake, and of course making some sort of like little gag, like keep biting on Eddy's nose and saying nipping on your nose. Okay, I will admit that's kind of funny. But of course Johnny catches on and of course throws Eddy out of his house. And of course Eddy dropped by who else but Rolf. Yes, Rolf, the somewhat farmer of the group. Of course, Rolf invites him in and explains about his tradition or holiday where he celebrates about a woman named Yish. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Basically, a woman that almost looks similar to Santa Claus except wearing what are they called? It's wooden shoes and doesn't have a mustache, and also mentions that she lives in the center of the earth and making a feast for all the good boys and girls. Basically a similar Santa Claus, but except different. And Rolf has a short little musical of singing about Yeshmeh. And of course, Eddy is wondering where are the gifts, and of course, turns out doesn't get any gifts on his little holiday. So Eddy walks out on Rolf. Double D and Ed are still trying to think of a way to convince Eddy that it's not all about the gifts. So they devise their own little plan. And the next scene after that, where else does he go to? Oh yes, now I remember. The next house he goes to is Naz's house. And of course, I might as well, just say that he already gets kind of kicked out because he got eggnog all over Naz. Basically, that was, practically pointless of me even speaking of that, even though it's a 5-second scene. Anyway, Eddy was also wondering, if Christmas is about giving, why am I not getting? Of course, a present lands in his face, and it turns out it's Double D and Ed. Double D dressed up like an angel, and Ed dressed up like a shepherd, trying to convince Eddy to, to come back home. And of course, trying to find the true meaning of Christmas. But of course, Eddy's not convinced, and took Double Z's wings and walks out. The scene after that, he goes to Jimmy's house, dressed up like a Christmas angel, and of course, tries to look for Jimmy's gifts and tries to take some of his Christmas. Excuse me, I just need to take a deep breath. I've been, need to take a little breather. Okay. So after that, Jimmy explains his Christmas tradition, as in making a little gingerbread village, which I have to admit, it does look pretty good, actually. It must have took a lot of hard work just to make that little village. Probably had to do a lot of baking just to make that. That's pretty good talent right there. And of course, Eddy ate the little village, and of course, gets kicked out by Sarah. The next scene after that, it's kind of another 5-second scene. Basically, he goes up to Kevin and, of course, tries to, get one of his gifts. And, of course, it turns out to be a punch in the face. So, that's all the house he could possibly find. So, of course, Eddie's a little upset because he didn't get a gift. And, of course, he tries to walk to the middle of nowhere. Which, of course, it looks like the middle of nowhere. And, of course, he noticed a Christmas tree right out of nowhere, which, of course, it's never explained why that Christmas tree is even there. And, of course, notice that one of the light bulbs is out. And, of course, he noticed that he had a light bulb in his pocket. So he replaces the bulb and, of course, made the tree shine. Double D and Ed come out and, of course, said that they're proud of him for doing what he did. And of course, Eddy finally realizes what the true meaning of Christmas was all about. Christmas was not what you find underneath a tree, it's basically what you find in your heart. All the kids in the cul-de-sac gather around and see the tree, and of course, think how beautiful it looks. Until, out of nowhere, a sack lands on Eddy, and it turns out it was Santa Claus who came. And, of course, Eddy knows there's a lot of gifts for everybody in the cul-de-sac, including himself. And as always, knowing Eddy, he takes every gift, all those gifts, and steals them on them. And of course, runs to Rolf's barn. So Ed and Double D try to go after him and try to take the gifts back. And, oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention the Canker sisters went through 3 things so far. The first thing they find was a piece of bread with mold and mushrooms on it. The second thing they found was wieners and pennies, and finally, the final thing they found was a fur coat. I forgot to mention about that. At least I'm just saying it now, so I at least get that part done over with. And of course, the sack goes flying back to the kids, and of course, he was thinking 3 kings who have traveled afar, and of course. I forgot her name. Always has her her eyes covered on her bangs and had red curly hair. Anyway, and said away in a manger, excuse me. And of course, they presented gift. The first was mold. The second was wieners and pennies, and finally fur. And of course, the oldies, hanging on his little jacket. Thing, and Eddy in what looks like a manger, and Ed dressed up like a shepherd. While the Canker sisters come in. Excuse me. Look like 3 kings, and W had a good point. That does really get into the spirit of Christmas. Looks like the birth of baby Jesus, and of course they said their gift to them is kisses. All around, and they laid a sign up saying, "Do not, open till next Xmas," and the kids, sing a little Christmas carol. So that's the, Ed and Eddy Jingle Jingle Jangle. What do I think of this episode? I like this episode, which I've already mentioned that before. The episode teaches you that what Christmas really means, and in the end, it did get into the true meaning. Somewhat the true meaning of Christmas, and of course got into the spirit of Christmas. So it's a pretty good Christmas special. So, yeah, I highly recommend watching this episode. It's a very good episode, and there are some funny moments. So, I hope you guys love this review, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa, or whatever holiday you celebrate on the month of December. I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a like if you did, a favorite, and also, go check out my bro's channel, Christian Dragoon. So, thanks for watching. See ya.